What's happening, peeps and peepettes? I hope you guys are having an awesome day. In this video, I'm going to try to enhance your overall DPS that your character is doing currently in the game. Now, as a point of reference, I'm going to use my own character as a baseline for overall to enhance your DPS. Now, you can use these tips and tricks basically to either enhance the damage that you're going to deal towards your enemy, but you can also enhance your own character to actually be more tanky, and by that I mean you can survive more of the incoming hits that your enemy is dishing out to you. So you basically are buffing your character by following along these tips and tricks that I'm going to show you guys. So you can go DPS the way I'm going to show you guys, and also you can go tank. Basically is following the same sets of rules that I'm going to show you on this character. Now I do want to emphasize one thing. I don't have any other buffs. This is just the 700-day veteran because I bought the game, and this is not giving me any special buffs or anything like that. This is just giving me a little bit more experience points, but that's about it. As I said, I'm going to use my own character as a baseline for all of the enhances that I'm going to do, and also going to use my own gun that I'm currently using as a primary weapon. Now this primary weapon also has a primary and a secondary firing mode. Now the primary, we are going to focus on the first line. I know that there is lots of text on this particular tooltip that you guys are seeing. Don't get misled. I'm going to show you guys where to focus, and we're going to focus on the first line that you guys see under quick beam. This weapon is doing 527.6 disruptor damage, and that's 162.3 DPS, and the secondary is doing 251.8 disruptor damage, and that is 53 DPS. Now that is the baseline that I'm going to use, and I'm going to keep this in a screenshot so I can actually overlay it in other parts of the video. This is going to be the baseline, and whenever I'm going to enhance something, I'm going to reference this and I'm going to overlay it to the enhanced image so you guys can see how much enhancement we are going to do. Now, to get this video started, and what I'm actually talking about, I'm actually talking about all of these items. These items are in the category devices, and the devices come up here in the character status window. You have room for 4 of these guys that you can slot, and basically you can use, like I mentioned in the video earlier, you can use going to DPS or going to survivor mode. This all depends on you. Now I'm also going to show you guys where you can get all of these items that I'm talking about to enhance your overall DPS. Basically the same deal. If you want to go tank mode and go like surviving mode, these are basically the same deal that you can do if you follow along this video. Now, the first one that I'm going to talk about is the Bajoran Mojito. Now, the Bajoran Mojito is part of a summer event. You can go to reputation, go to the first tab, go into event. Now, I am at the triple testing server, so if you guys are following along and you are on the holodeck server, currently this version of Star Trek Online is not on the holodeck server, the real server, but it's going to come there soon, so that's why I'm actually doing it there. So there is a button up here that is for the store version. Go to the summer event tab, and basically, did I just pass it? There we go. Bajoran Mojito is going to cost you 8 of those Lulan favors. You guys probably have like a bunch of them laying around. This is the item that I'm going to talk about in this particular case, the Bajoran Mojito. Now, why is this really important? Because I'm actually emphasizing this a lot in here. Why is it important? Well, I'm going to put it up here in my device slots, because there is, every time you put something from your inventory in your device slots, there is a cooldown timer of 20 seconds. So keep that in mind. You cannot use this particular item right away. There is a cooldown period of 20 seconds. Now, why am I actually using it? It is right there on your screen, plus 27% hit points over the next 3.5 seconds. Basically, neglect that, because that is a benefit that we're going to use it, but we're not going to use it for the primary. We're going to use it for the next line, and that is plus 10 into kit performance over the next 360 seconds. If you divide that by 60, that's basically 1 hour. For the next 1 hour, we are going to get plus 10 in kit performance. And also, if you're going to use the Bajoran Mojito during summer, or at least during the summer event, it's going to be 50% more efficient. Now, do keep in mind that some of these devices have, like, you know, the event addition to them, so they're going to be more effective during the summer or during the winter, or a particular event they're going to be more effective. But the baseline it is right now, because currently there is no event going on in Star Trek, is just plus 10. And the next one we are going to talk about is the fluorescent grass. Yes, I'm going to talk about grass on my YouTube channel. Hopefully I'm not going to get demonetized. But anyway, 20-second cooldown, so we can talk about this a little bit more. Now, as you guys see, a percentage in hit points and also temporary hit points. Neglect that. That is basically not what we are going to talk about. But we are going to talk about the enhancement in +2 in critical chance for the next 1 hour as well. And you can basically the fluorescent grass, you can basically, there are a couple of ways to obtain these. You can try looking them up through the exchange on, or a particular duty officer assignment mission that you can do, and on a critical outcome you're going to get these as a reward. But I would recommend buying them from the exchange. They're not that pricey. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is the bubble candy. Now, this is something that you can obtain during the winter event games. Basically, run through that village, open the presents. You can actually grab these things as candy, or try the exchange. I don't think they're going to be that pricey, but what we are going to use it, and this is just an optional, you don't actually need to do this to do DPS. We are actually going to use it to enhance our maximum shield capacity for the next 1 hour by 10%. And I know you guys talking about, like, thinking about, like, well, 10% is not a lot. Well, it's going to enhance your survivability, so definitely something interesting to put up there, especially if you want to dish out a lot of DPS. You're going to get a lot of aggro, so you kind of need a little bit of survivability. Now, the next item that I'm going to talk about is there are basically the two items that are going to do the same thing, and I'm going to go with a Nog's Nog. The reason why it's going to enhance is the reason why I'm going to go with this one is because it's going to enhance our plus 10% bonus all damage for the next 1 hour. And there is the other version as well, the Rocasa Juice. It's basically going to do the same thing, plus 10% bonus all damage, but this thing only is going to last for 30 minutes, sorry. So basically the same deal as well. Try the exchange, and you know, you're basically going to find these two, or at least one of these particular buffs to enhance your overall DPS. Now, remember when I made a screenshot for that? Now let me enhance my kit performance. Now, to do that, I need to go to ground and to show you guys that my kit performance, improve all kit modules, is at 230. And I know that you guys are really interested in my ground build. I'm definitely going to make a video about that, explaining everything to, like, the choices that I made, the gear that I'm using, the skills, the abilities, and all of that, the traits, and the all kinds of stuff that is really interesting for some of you to know about. That's going to come soon. So, you know, keep the channel. Watch the channel, because one of that video is going to come up any of these days. But anyway, the Bajoran Mojito is going to give us plus 10 in here in kit modules, so it is currently at 230. If we drink this one, open that can, jug, 240. You guys can see it right there. 10 points has been given to us, and look at my character. She is loving that juice. Look at that big smile on her face, and those eyes. Those eyes have been popping out like crazy. Anyway, moving on. the grass that we are going to eat is going to give us critical chance for the next, right here we can actually see my critical chance is at 13.6 if I ate the grass coming out of the candy. And look at that big cheek. She is definitely munching on that. All right, so my critical chance was at 13.6. Now it is up to 15.6. Now, to make sure that you guys understand critical chance is definitely something that you want to have to get like a critical severity, and critical severity is going to modify the final outcome of damage that you're going to do towards your enemies. So having these two at fairly, or at least the critical chance above, I don't know, 10, 20, somewhere between that is definitely useful. Having it higher than that is definitely, you know, more overpowered. And critical severity, a higher number in here is just going to increase the final outcome of your damage that you're going to do towards your enemy, like I mentioned before. So the next one is also going to be candy. But this one is going to be the bubble candy from the winter event, and this thing is going to enhance my shield. Now my shield is currently sitting at 515. Now 10% is going to top it off at 560 something. Let's eat that. 558. So it's roughly 10%. Okay, so those are the enhancements that I'm currently doing. I'm also going to jug down this Nog's Nog right here. I'll just place it right there. Now there is a shared cooldown when you're going to use any of these things. So here we go. On Nog's Nogs, 10% bonus old damage to my weapon. Now my weapon, like I mentioned and like I shown before, 527 is the primary and 251 is the secondary. So let me just eat or drink this Nog, and look at now it is 569 and 271 as a point of reference. Okay, so we are basically done with these four. These four are basically chosen because they have a 1 hour duration buff, and as you guys can see, all of them are right here. All of the 4 buffs that are currently going with a little bit of a timer. It's really hard to see. I wish they're going to add a little bit more, make these fonts a little bit bigger so we can actually see what's going on up there. But basically they're going to last us 1 hour. Now I'm going to remove all of these and I'm going to add these other 4s to enhance my character even further. So I just removed all of the devices that we already used to have the buffs going. Now I'm using other devices. Now the first one that I'm definitely going to recommend if you're going to do ground in any form or fashion, use this gambling device. The purchase of this gambling device is needed for you about, you're going to need about 30 lobi. This is right here. The gambling device is going to cost you 30 lobi, and you're going to get one of these. Now, the benefit of having this thing is that it's going to enhance your critical chance by 10%. Also, your critical severity by 10% is going to give you plus 15 in dodge. Now, dodge is you're going to basically dodge the incoming attack. So the incoming attack is going to be neglected to your character. It's going to miss. It's not going to connect to your character. And critical chance, critical severity by 10%. That is definitely awesome to have. Now I'm going to display it right here. I'm just going to push it. And if we're going to win, yes, look at that. Yay. Now, because we won the gambling device right here, my critical chance has been increased by 25.6. So that is really high. That is really good. The critical severity went up by 10 points as well. So 10% for that as well. So 194.3 sitting currently. Now, the next item that I'm going to give you guys is the prototype Catch Yourself stimulant. Now this is from a duty officer assignment mission. On a critical outcome, you're going to get these. I don't know if they are going to be on the exchange though, but give it a look. They might be there as well. The reason why we're going to use this is it's going to enhance our damage overall. So 7.5% bonus all damage for the next 300 seconds. That might not be a lot, but trust me, it is. The weapon is currently at 569 in primary, 271 in secondary. So if we use this is basically just like a hypo. The animation, my primary went up to 600 disruptor damage and the secondary 286.4. Now keep in mind, this is not buffed. I'm not using any of these special abilities or anything like that. Now to enhance our character's ability even more, there is this Dosai or Dosi, I don't know how to pronounce it, Rodgut is also going to give us hit points, temporary hit points. Neglect that, we're not going to use it for that. We are going to use it for the plus 20% in critical severity for the next 900 seconds. Now, critical severity, like I said, is going to modify the final damage that you're going to do. If you land a critical hit, it's going to modify that amount by a really large number. So you're going to basically vaporize your enemy in one shot. Now, it is currently at 194.3% without this. So if we drink this, it is at 214.3, and look at her face. She's smiling again. My character, man, she likes being drunk somehow. Okay, so one item that I did not put up here are these. Now, these are basically the same but not the same items. So for a really long time, this particular item, the anti-proton carrier wave, was broken, and you can get this one from the Borg reputation. Where is it? Borg Task Force Omega. Sorry about that. Go to the store, consumables. There is a cheaper version that's going to cost you 25 dilithium that is refined, or the one that I currently have that's going to cost you 50 refined dilithium. That's going to do the one that we are doing right now. Can we get that up? So this thing is going to give us, let me just place it right here so the cooldown can go on. This thing, in addition to the normal damage that your weapon is doing, let's say you're using phasers or whatever type of energy-based damage that you're using, plasma, that could be everything and anything, this thing is going to add anti-proton damage to that, to your main weapon. So basically, whenever you're going to hit an enemy, you're going to do your normal damage. In my case, I'm doing disruptor damage, and this thing is going to add anti-proton as well. So this thing is going to add a maximum of 11.3 anti-proton damage to the attacks that you're going to deal towards your enemy, and also plus a 30 critical severity bonus for the next 5 minutes. Now, definitely interesting, because critical severity, if we have that in a really high amount, is, like I said, is going to enhance the critical severity. Now, I did move over right here, but it's not going to enhance the critical severity of my character. It is going to enhance the critical severity of my weapon. So if you guys want to focus, the normal weapons have like plus 20% in critical severity. If you have not modified them in any way, like re-engineering or something like that. So this, in my case, my particular weapon has plus 20 critical severity in primary and secondary. But if I consume this consumable right here, is going to add plus 30 to that. So if I move over to my weapon, it's going to give me a critical severity by plus 50% primary and also plus 50% in secondary, dealing more damage and a very high amount of critical if we're going to land this thing. Now, I said that these things are basically, all of them are the same, but they're kind of not, because these nano energy cells, Tachyon Rider in particular case, this thing is going to add 10% to the attacks to ignore enemy shields. It's basically a penetration buff, but you cannot use it in conjunction with these, the anti-proton carrier wave or anything of these, because your weapon can only be modified once. And this thing is just going to override that one. So I've chosen for the critical severity instead of like basically a penetration buff. Now there are other variants as well. This thing has a 10% chance to add toxic damage per second and also 25% healing resistance. And the last one is 10% to add kinetic base damage, and also 10% to knock the target out of their stance. So that's about it for these particular items. The dosai is also for from a duty officer assignment mission that you're going to get from I can't remember which mission it was, but try the exchange or hit yeah, they shouldn't be really high in cost if you just grab them from the exchange. Now the last one that I'm going to show you guys is an enhancement that can be done on your kit performance. This is going to add 37.5 points to your crit performance, and you can grab these things basically from almost everywhere. You can do them from R&Ds as well, basically everywhere. You can grab them right here. Consumable, large kit, overboost. Basically make sure that you are level 15, I believe, or level 5 or something like that. You can unlock this thing and you can basically craft them on your own. I don't think they're on the exchange, but don't try the exchange. I don't know for 100% sure, to be honest. Now you can choose the large kit overboost or the large power cell. Basically they're going to add 37.5 to your base, in this case the base amount of your weapon. That's going to be enhanced energy based damage, and this one is going to do 37.5 in kit performance. Now you can only use one of them because they share a cooldown. They share a cooldown for the next 15 seconds. They're going to be sharing a particular cooldown, so you cannot use them in conjunction, but you can use either or. So in my case, I'm going to go with the power cell, and I have a trait, this one, that adds a 10% bonus energy based damage for the next 15 seconds to all of these large power cells. They're going to be enhanced as well. And I also have another duty officers that lowers the cooldown consumption of these guys right here. A biochemist under the medical tab, to the self, minus yeah, it should be minus, not plus, 50% cooldown rate for the next 5 seconds. So basically whenever this thing is going to cost 20 seconds in cooldown, for now it's going to be 10 seconds because I have that duty officer. Now make sure that you guys have enough of these large power cells if you're going to go that route, or the same if you're going to have the large kit overboost. Make sure that you have a lot of these because you're going to eat them up like candy. And let me explain why. Let's go to ground. Now my kit performance right now is at 240. If I'm going to use this thing over and over and over, is going to add 37.5 points to this thing. So 37, let's say 275, if we are going to use that. 277, there it goes. But as you guys see, only lasts for 15 seconds, so you basically need to spam this thing over and over and over to get that high performance from your in kit performance. So that's why I'm actually going for the enhancement of my weapons, weapon-based damage. So I have 100 of these. That should be suffice it for me to actually show you guys what all of these buffs are going to be able to give me a final outcome. So here it goes. Now, so I am going to use all of the buffs that weren't there, and as you guys can see, and I'm going to overlay the weapon when it was not buffed, and you guys can see when it is buffed, side-by-side comparison. As it is buffed, it is going all the way up to what was it, 700, there it goes, 837.9, and the secondary was let me see, 399.9. so basically 400 in disruptor damage when this thing is active. So that is really cool, and that is something that I wanted to show you guys really quickly. Make sure you have you know, if you want to enhance your DPS, use these particular devices, because that's what these device slots are basically for. You can also use you know, like combat pets, the Hortas. We do have a dinosaur these days, so the Furidon right here, or the Jackal Mastiff for all the KDFs out there. But this is one way to enhance all of your weapons. And I hope you guys found this video useful and informative, to be honest. And I will definitely love to see you guys on the next video. Like I said, I'm going to give you guys my character as it is her build for ground, because I know you guys are interested in seeing all of the damage that my character does.